go. Let's go. Right. Just a little bit of technical issues, but I'm here on a Monday. Hope you all had a fantastic weekend. Let's do, yes, all frequencies locked. Let's just put this here in the background. Hope you all had a fantastic weekend. Remember to smash up that like button on your way in. Today's technical analysis is going to be brief. It's going to be powerful, and I'm going to close it a little bit earlier today. I have a lot of other things to do today as well, but I'm here bringing you the technical analysis. What I like to do on a Monday is just quickly focus on the higher time frame here on the 4 hour, and then we can go and look at the local structure that is forming right over here. Are the probabilities higher to move down and come and claim the lows, or are we going to continue the range? Or can we still expect upwards momentum for the bulls? Right, I will go through all of the scenarios, point out the levels that I'm watching to the up and to the downside. We can look at the local structure, and the local structure that's going to form in the next day or two is going to be very important to see what the highest probable next move will be for Bitcoin. Because for the moment, okay, before I jump here into the larger time frame, I just have to share this with everyone. For the moment, this is a three-wave structure. For the moment, which increases the probabilities of going to claim that high. So I'm going to go through the local scenarios and show you, well, if something else happens that could open up the door to not claim this high again. The high is in, we claimed the liquidity, found rejection above this little high, 786 got tapped, and yeah, let's go. Basically, let's start with the higher time frame technical analysis. Right guys, I see Matt here in the channel, absolute legend, Mr. Matthew, welcome to the live stream. Great to see you here. If you guys haven't checked out Matt's channel, go and check him out. He's a awesome analyst. Okay, right guys, let's dive here into the technical analysis. Yes, Matthew in the house. Okay, I'm not sure if I'm going to have time to say hi to the community today, but what's most important is the technical analysis. So from a larger time frame perspective, here on the 4 hour time frame, this is a scenario that could still play out. Okay, let's tackle one of the low probable scenarios that could still play out from a correction perspective. This is not my favorite scenario, and not because I don't like it personally. From a technical perspective, there's a couple of issues with this scenario, and the issues lies inside of the A wave. Okay, but it's not invalidated, and this is why I'm still discussing it. In this scenario, this C wave, okay, you have to remember guys, since the all-time high, okay, and the low that we've created here, you could still form a larger three-wave structure that could still extend and eat up the liquidity above that pivot. And then all hell breaks loose and we fall down and we claim the low again, because it's still a corrective structure. Okay, it's still a corrective structure. But in this scenario, what is most important for the bulls is that this low, okay, I'm going to snap it in there with a magnet, and I'm just going to keep it safe. The lowest point of that structure, $89,000, 242, should not be claimed. As soon as this level is claimed, it's over. It's done. Okay, because in this scenario, what you would like to see is, let me just switch this magnet off, a 1-2, and it's building up that spring, and you want to see a third explosive wave to the upside, and then another 4-5, 4-5. Okay, because this has to repeat itself. That's the only bullish structure that's open on the cards at the moment, because what has formed here more locally. I cannot count this any other way except a double 1-2. So clear invalidation, $89,000, 242. Basically, the bulls need to step in and form a higher low, not claim this low. Yes, you could argue you can take it from that low as well. I'm just trying to play it ultra safe over here, is to say that, well, if all of this is part of the impulse, okay, that's the low that should not be claimed to still keep the bulls in control. As long as the bulls can form a higher low over here, there's still a chance to have upwards momentum. Right, ABC, not my favorite scenario. Like I said, it doesn't carry the highest probability, but it hasn't been invalidated. After an ABC, you expect momentum back to the downside to go and claim the low. It's as simple as that. Okay, let me just put that into the folder. Next scenario. Let me take this one out the way. Whew. Let's try this again. Right, next scenario is the most bullish case scenario. Absolutely insane scenario here to the upside. Okay, let me just put it here a little bit into perspective. And you can see here on the folders, I have actually called it the 170K scenario. In this scenario, price has formed a higher low. Okay, the structure is still intact. We have a higher low. And what now needs to form is impulses to the upside. Okay, so in this little structure that is formed so far here to the upside, it's exactly the same. Very similar to this scenario that I've just shared. The only difference is if price manages to push up over here, okay, getting close to this pivot, the only difference between the previous scenario and the most bullish case scenario where we could form a higher low and continue to the upside is we have to see a 5-wave structure. Okay, that is the difference. Because in an ABC, this is the difference. A, B, C, okay, it's going to stop here and it's going to fall down. If price does that, that's my clue. That's my clue. I'm waiting for that. If I do not see this, that is my shorting opportunity. Okay, if I see this, then I know, okay, right. The retracement becomes an interesting buying opportunity to join the momentum back to the upside, where we could get an explosive third wave that could go as high as $160,000, $170,000. Also, again, this scenario has the same issues as the ABC. Okay, it has the same issues inside of wave 1. There are issues. I know, okay, and I think maybe this is part of the reason why sometimes other people's analysis from an Elliott wave perspective frustrates me, because I've seen general Elliottians, let me just refer to that, will say, no, that's a diagonal. That's a wave 1. We have formed a correction in a wave 2. We're going to go up. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. It could even, give us those 4 5s there to the upside. Come down for 2, and then we're going to go up for 3. But I think very few technical analysts from an Elliott wave perspective actually look at the internal structures of that diagonal and place probabilities on the diagonal. Okay, because it's easy to say it's a diagonal. Hey, that looks like a diagonal. Okay, it's contracting. But when you go onto the smaller time frame, the 15-minute time frame, for example, and you go and count the internal structures, this diagonal carries very low probability because there's issues inside of the third wave. So, sometimes you just need to spend a little bit more effort and go and dissect the internal structures. And the reason I like to do that is because I'm not sure if you guys remember, okay? When we made this high, when we made that high, and price started falling down here, I dissected that structure on the 1-minute time frame. And the reason I did that is because inside of that structure, there was clues that told me that there's a high chance you are going to form a higher low and continue and claim that high again, because the move to the upside was not a 5-wave structure. It was a 3-wave structure. So this was a high chance still part of a corrective structure for a higher low and continuation to the upside. So often what I will do as a technical analyst when I see critical structures form, especially when you form a high, okay, now you're trying to determine, is this corrective or is it impulsive? And there was clues inside of that structure that told me that there's a higher probability we're going to claim the high again before we claim the low. Okay, and it's happened a couple of times, guys. I can't remember all, but if you go and watch the live streams, also this consolidation, we're going to claim the high before we claim the low, which is what happens because I need to go and look at the problems inside of the structures. And now again, based on the current structure that I see over here, okay, there are issues inside of that structure, so I cannot give the scenario the highest probability. I'm still talking about it because it hasn't been invalidated, because maybe, just maybe, it is what it is. Okay, but in this scenario, the same thing as the ABC to the upside. You have formed your wave 1, okay, you have your correction in wave 2, and you now want to see acceleration to the upside. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. What's going to be important with this scenario is you want to see a 3-wave corrective structure and another wave to the upside to create your 4 and your 5. So the difference between the most bullish case scenario and the most bearish case scenario is going to be what happens here. That will tell me from a macro perspective whether I should be looking for swing longs or whether I should be I'm definitely going to attempt a short here. If we claim this pivot and we fail to break above, I'm definitely attempting a short, because there's definitely a chance that this is an ABC and it falls down and claims the low. If I get stopped out of this trade, I'm very happy to be stopped out, because then I'll be looking for longing opportunities. Okay. That's enough about this scenario. But in the scenario, you basically expect upwards momentum, and the invalidation is exactly the same as the ABC. So price needs to form a higher low, and you want to see continuation to the upside. This low at $89,000, 242 should not be claimed. That will be the invalidation for this scenario. Okay. As simple as that. Unless... Okay, we'll get to that. Once we maybe claim that low, maybe there's another price action that shows its face and the tricks that it's got up its sleeve. But for now, that's the scenario. Now, also, most bearish case scenario, WXY is finished. Okay, we have formed an A, B, C, and a W. Already we have a 3-wave corrective structure. This already hit X-wave targets, has been hit. Okay, and you now want to form an A, B, C to the downside. And this can get really, really aggressive to the downside. And the easiest way that I can explain it is that if you take a bars pattern, okay, from the high to the low of this structure, this is literally what could play out over here. A repeat, because this is basically what happens, okay? Your W and your Y wave usually repeat, and they have a one-to-one relationship. They do have specific Fibonacci targets to the downside. Okay, which basically means the bear market continues. Okay, so in this scenario, the high is in. Right. And basically you want the invalidation for the bullish case scenarios to be claimed. Okay. And I think it will definitely open up the door for this scenario. If price had to fall here, this scenario will start carrying the highest probability. Yes, you could dip below, maybe you go B and then you C to the downside, or you go A, B, C and you form a larger ABC to the downside. I don't know how that structure is going to unfold. Excuse me, but I do have targets. Okay, you take a fib from the high to the low of W to where this high was formed, and just to show you guys how nasty it can get to the downside. I just want to make sure that I'm on the right scale here. Okay. The most common target for a WXY, if this scenario had to play out, is the 1.382. Okay. This box, or basically this box over here. So guys, this can get very ugly to the downside. We can dip as low as $34,000 when I measure this WXY Fibonacci targets. That's how low it can go. Another common target is the one-to-one extension at $51,000. So I will be keeping an eye on these levels. It is very rare for a WXY to claim the 0.618 or the 1.618 at $23,000. Okay, I would be very surprised if price goes down that low in this scenario. Okay, let me see if there are any other higher time frame scenarios that I need to tackle here. Let's take this out the way. Right, now let's discuss this little triangle that is formed over here, just to say that, well, okay, in this scenario, there's a chance that the high is in. So in this WXY, 3-wave structure in W, okay, triangle in a X, you basically formed an A, B, C, Okay, and basically a WXY triangle in a Y wave, and now you have formed your A, your B, your C in your Y wave, and it did smack the 0.786, but it already claimed the minimum target as well, which is the 0.618. So in this WXY, if you're asking yourself the question, is there a chance for the high to be in and we're just going to fall to the downside? Well, we have already hit the minimum target and we claimed a second target as well at the 0.786. And I mean, what a beautiful swing failure here from the high. You can see that that was an absolute beautiful SFP. You tap the level, you reject. Okay, and that was also a trade that I highlighted inside of our community, by the way. Okay, if you guys would like to be part of the community, always the link is down in the description. DM me the word join on Telegram to join my community, and I'll share with you the steps in terms of how to qualify and what you need to be part of that community. And remember, guys, Bluffin is absolutely amazing. If you join for the first time, you get VIP access for free for 30 days to trade like a pro with absolute low fees. Okay, let's get back here into the technical analysis. I'm going to go through the smaller time frames now. I just wanted to tackle the higher time frame just to say, guys, there's a chance that the high is in. Okay, this low, you want to claim this low in this scenario. Okay, but as long as the bulls can hold a higher low, there's a chance that we can go up and maybe reject at the most common target, or that ABC that I've already shown you guys. Okay, so now that's basically the higher time frame analysis. Now let's jump into the 15-minute time frame. What can we expect locally? What happened over the weekend and since Friday up until now? What can we make of this structure? So I can count a beautiful 5-wave structure here to the upside, an impulsive structure. This looks like a beautiful 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, third wave, that's what I like to see, had the most amount of volume. Okay, and you make a higher high on a decreasing amount of volume. So from an impulsive perspective, it looks pretty beautiful. Okay, now the question is, since we created this high, okay, is this corrective or is this impulsive to the downside? So here we go. I'm going to share a couple of scenarios. Right, so let's take that out the way. One of the scenarios that I'm currently watching, diagonals never carry the highest probability from an Elliott wave perspective, but it has not been invalidated. You have formed a leading diagonal in this structure. I don't like leading diagonals because they always carry the lowest probability, but it's not an invalidation. You have formed a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, to form a wave 1. Question is, was this wave 2 or is this wave 2? Okay, let's just smack it on there for now. So you have formed a wave 1. So there's definitely the chance for an impulse. You have formed a 1, a 2. This little monstrosity, this little dip that we had here to the downside, I can now label as the wave 3. So now we are potentially busy with a 4th wave. And you form your 4th wave and you claim the low again. Okay, but then I'm looking for a correction up to you because you have now your 1, your 2, and then you continue to the downside. So if I do see this, it opens up the door to a very interesting shorting opportunity. Also, a very interesting longing opportunity. Okay, and I will share with you how I plan to trade this. So, guys, it's not about being right or wrong with your technical analysis. The question is always that you make money. Okay, Matt, if you're still here in the live stream, I think I heard you say that. Very, very wise words. I think people obsess about being right or wrong. Dewald, you were wrong, or Dewald, you were right. It's not about being right or wrong, guys. It's about reading the structure and did you make money? Did you apply your trading strategy with a plan in terms of good risk management, knowing where to take profits and protecting your capital? Okay, because I am often wrong about a specific scenario that I'm eyeing, but based on the structure that unfolds, I still take a successful trade. Okay, it's about analyzing the price action as it unfolds in front of your eyes. So in this scenario, if price, it either falls directly from here and maybe the fourth wave is in already, or we get a larger fourth wave in a 3-wave structure. Okay, maybe we get a larger fourth wave, but I know technically there's a high chance if we take this low again and we start trading back above to show strength, longing opportunity, you know where to put your stop loss, and I can still at least play a correction to the upside. Leave a little runner open in case it wants to explode to the upside, but then I will also be interested in shorting opportunities because this consolidation area is massive resistance at the moment. Okay. And a specific area that I will be looking for shorts over here is if I take my fixed range volume profile for this little area, you will see that the highest amount of volume was traded here. Okay, this is the highest amount of volume. So price is going to need to really push with volume to crack through this level. So this is why I am very interested in shorting opportunity. I'm very interested in a longing opportunity. That if I do successfully long over here, that becomes a profit taking area. This becomes a shorting opportunity for me, and this has a chance to come and potentially smack this low. Okay, so the structure has to reveal itself in order for me to take those trading decisions. Right. Sometimes the low probability scenarios play out, guys. So although I'm sitting here telling you guys that this scenario has low probability because of a leading diagonal, it could play out, but the structure is going to show me if it wants to play out. Okay. A 1, 2, 3, maybe the 3 still continues because I was analyzing the structure also, and I thought, well, there's a chance you can move the second wave to this pivot. Okay, there's a chance you can move that pivot over there because that little high was formed from a timing perspective inside of the zone. And then this could be your 1, your 2, your 3, your 4, and your 5. That then means your third wave moves there. Okay, so the structures can still morph into a larger structure, but it's still the same area that I'm looking for along. Whether this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or whether this is a 1, 2, okay, 3, 4, 5, there's a trading opportunity over here. There's a nice little trading opportunity. Okay, interesting. If I zoom into the structure, let's just switch this off. I should take, what was it, the 1 hour time frame. Okay, just interesting. I want to show you guys this. And I take a volume profile for this entire range. You can see the most important level, as per the thumbnail, the most important level that has to hold for the bulls is the naked point of control. That's the level that needs to hold. So if price still wants to fall to the downside, you do not want to lose the point of control, because usually in range trading, and this is something that you'll learn when you start trading ranges. Okay, when you have these deviations above the range, when you have the deviations and you have the deviations below the range, okay, when you have the deviation below, you typically want to see the rejection at the point of control for continuation to the downside. So we pierced it. Now we have a deviation above. So for momentum to continue to the upside, you do not want to lose the point of control, because if you do lose the point of control, you significantly increase the probabilities you're going to come take the value area low. Because usually in a range, when you break out of a range, okay, often what price does, it comes back to the point of control and it bounces. If it loses the point of control, the range continues. Okay, and you can see that we have a nice little volume node over there. So for the bulls, in order to form a higher low, you can see from this low to the high, okay, this level needs to hold. You want to form, for the bulls, you need to form a higher low for this structure to still have a chance to claim the high. Okay, just from a simplicity perspective. Right, let's get back here onto the 15-minute time frame and discuss a couple of other scenarios. 15-minute. Here we go. Okay, so impulse down. That's basically what I've discussed now. Is there a chance? Is there a chance that the correction could be done? And I'm specifically referring to it as a correction. maybe we don't go and tap that point of control. Okay, is there a chance? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you have now formed a W or A, B, C here to the downside. Also a W, X, Y to the downside. Yes, there's a chance. We have also tapped a very common WXY target. Okay. More detail, you have a three-wave structure basically in a W, you have a three-wave structure in a X, you have a three-wave structure in a Y wave. So there's a chance, okay? I always ask myself the question, is there a chance that the low could be in? What will be most important for me is that this structure now needs to build impulses to the upside, and for the moment, it does not look good, okay? For this low to hold, the internal structure here on the 5-minute time frame for the moment does not look impulsive. Okay, but it's still very fresh. So there's a higher chance we're going to claim this low again. Okay, so let's go on to the scenario. So there's a chance that all of this, okay, remember guys, it's always better to look for corrective structures instead of leading diagonals. But there's a chance that you have an A, okay, you have a B, or you can move your B over here, right? And now you have, in your C wave, you have formed your 1, 2, 3. You still need to form 4 and 5. Correction done, claim the high. Okay, but you can see it aligns with that point of control that I've just shown you. Okay, so we have a couple of Elliott wave scenarios that points to it's a good bouncing zone. Okay. Right, but there's also a chance that this is an A, B, C, and it's done. I just don't like the structure to the upside at the moment. But I mean, it can still morph into something else. Most bearish case scenario, we need to be aware of the most bearish case scenario. Unfortunately, I cannot give the scenario the highest probability because of this. Okay, there's some issues inside of the structure because ideally, most common what you want to see in a multi-nested 1-2s to the downside is you want to see a 1-2, 1-2, still fine, 1-2, okay, and you want it here. Here is where the breakdown needed to happen, and then it did this, okay, and this is the reason I'm giving the scenario lower probability, because yes, I can label this another 1-2, okay. Problem is it did not take, because you can see it chops to the downside every time it takes the low. It takes the low as it's building the nested 1-2s. Now you have a 1-2 that did not take the low. Okay, now you can say, well, what if this is 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, 4, 5. Okay, you have a correction that is incredibly long compared to the previous corrections. They are supposed to become shorter in time, not longer in time. So for the moment, I cannot give this scenario the highest probability. If it did have to play out and price continues to chop and to chop and to chop and to chop, well, that's an interesting longing opportunity. You basically want to see the restructure repeat here to the downside. Okay, but this scenario for me personally, from a technical perspective, does not carry the highest probability. Okay, let me just make sure that I have covered everything over here. Just want to check my notes. I did make some notes, so just to make sure that I cover everything. Higher time frame, yes, we've gone through that. The local levels that must hold. So I mean, for the bulls, okay, just to say this again, if I take a fib from this low to the high, interesting trading scenario over here as well. If price continues to fall down here, I will be looking for a swing failure from the 786, and I do like that little pivot over there. So if price dips here below, gets acceptance back above, okay, that is an interesting longing opportunity for me, okay, to at least come and claim this high and maybe even this high over here where I have highlighted the resistance, the massive resistance that lies in this zone. So there's a chance once you double bottom over here, okay, that you could come and eat this level. Either we continue, okay, but I'm just looking for a scalp trade today. Okay, I'm looking for a day trade, guys. I don't care what price does after that. I just want to get into a successful trade with good risk management, take profits according to my trading plan, and then I'm happy. Okay, and then I look for next trading scenario. But for continuation, for massive continuation to the upside, okay, this low needs to be protected. If this is a 1 and this is a 2, the most common target for a second wave, okay, not the most common, but the maximum target is generally the 786. If price is going to fall down here and it starts claiming these levels, the 0.88, the 0.9, just slightly below, it unfortunately does then start increasing the probabilities that you could come and eat up the low. Okay. Just want to make sure. Okay. And then this is basically the summary of all the scenarios that I have at the moment. So the summary of all the scenarios, okay, I've excluded the most bearish case scenario because it doesn't carry the highest probability, but I mean, you have seen it, okay, but most of the scenarios points to a bounce, okay, and then we have that massive resistance area over here, which provides a shorting opportunity, and then if you do catch a successful long, you could always leave a runner because that little green scenario could play out over here, okay. You have an impulse, 3-wave correction, and you continue to the upside. I want to see a 5-wave structure to the upside, a 3-wave corrective structure, another long opportunity, have a trend, play the breakout, and you go and you claim the high. So depending on how the structure unfolds, I will make my trading decisions. But you can see in most of the scenarios, okay, let's look at green. Green is the most bullish. The low is in and we just move up here in a 5-wave structure. The 3-wave correction provides the opportunity for continuation. The orange is we still take the low. Okay, again. The red also, we still take the low again. But in all these scenarios, we find support, okay, and it's the bounce. In the red scenario, you still want an ABC and continuation to the downside. Orange scenario, once you get to resistance, okay, well, it's just a great profit-taking area and interesting to start looking for shorts. Because in the orange scenario, it either continues or it falls down. But as you can see in all of these scenarios, it's a very interesting zone for me to look for longs. Okay, in that most bearish case scenario, which doesn't carry the highest probability, you basically just want to see continuation to the downside. Okay. And that is basically the technical analysis in a nutshell. Remember, guys, I do update the community, myself and Andy, the coaches. Okay, if you want to join the community for further instructions, just DM me the word join on Telegram. Bluffin, if you sign up and trade, you get VIP status 1 for 30 days. And then I've got something exciting coming for the course. Okay, I will most probably do that announcement tomorrow in a live stream. Okay, they will most likely be a giveaway. Okay, I've thought about it, spoken to the team. There will most likely be a giveaway for the course tomorrow, but there will be certain steps that you need to follow. So I will discuss that tomorrow. Have yourselves a wonderful trading day. Sorry, I unfortunately don't have time to go through all the comments today. Wanted to keep it a little bit brief and bright and short. So have yourselves an amazing day. Until the next one, cheers for now.